My name is Brian Spain. I live at 647 New Hampshire Avenue in Marysville. My wife and I, who I thought was going to do the talking tonight,
I talk too much, it's okay.
we work with a nonprofit theater company in Port Huron right now. It's called Interstate Right. Our current building is, we're at 609 Huron Avenue, across from Casey's. I don't know if you've been there or seen or heard of us, but our rent has, our current landlords have raised our rent to the point that they have made purchasing the building attractive to us. We're working on sustainability.
That's such a nice way to put that.
We're working on sustainability with our organization. So one of the things we've identified is to keep control over our costs. But purchasing the building is the best thing to do. We've looked at lots of places. The last two that we're kind of working our way into right now are both in the township. So we just wanted to introduce ourselves and let you know that we're kind of working around. You'll see us here and again, but our thought is to bring our theater to the township. We have a 10-month or a 12-month production calendar. We do 10 to 12 shows a year. We attract we sold around 4,100 tickets a year. Actually, we're looking to grow in the new space. That's one of the sustainability things. Right now, our theater is about 70 seats, and we're looking to grow to a 100-seat theater.
It's hard when we have sellouts and have to turn people away, so.
And I'll let you describe
So we run a black box theater. So if you're unfamiliar with a black box, it basically is a big black box. And so everything in it is mobile. So our seating is mobile, our staging is mobile. So we can do in the round, we can do straight on, like what you think of as proscenium. We can switch it any way we want. Right now, our current stage is in a thrust, so that 3/4 around. And so we do a lot in a black box, and it's kind of the creativity and the intimate back and forth with our audience, with our community that we love in a black box. And we would, and wherever we move, that is what we were looking at to recreating what we already have.
We have kind of an eclectic mix of shows, everything from kids to adults. Right now, we're doing Stephen King's Misery, obviously not a kid's show. But next month, we're doing The Hobbit, which will be a kid's show. We did Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer the musical. This Christmas coming up, we're going to do Frozen musical for kids and adults. I guess they also like it too.
Because it's the adult version, it's the Broadway version, it's not the junior.
Once a year we do Shakespeare. We have Greek tragedy on the schedule this year. So it's a wide range of things for young people and older. So.
We typically do 2 to 3 musicals a year, and then the rest are all straight plays. We work with all generations, literally from baby up to 82. So it's has been our cap that we've had so far. So we have a great time with the community and our community of artists as well as our audience. So, yeah. We just want to introduce ourselves and tell you that we're hoping to come your way.
All right, good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes.
Michelle Brown, Ravenswood, Port Huron Township. Right now, our community uses TextMyGov, but most residents aren't getting the value it's supposed to provide. You have to sign up for it. Many don't even know it exists, and even among those who have signed up, including myself, notifications often don't come through. For example, there have been water main breaks where some residents received alerts while others did not. And events like the Christmas program at the museum in December would have been a perfect opportunity to use the system, but it wasn't utilized. Even more importantly, TextMyGov cannot capture full board meetings where majority decisions and real discussions take place. If it tried to share that level of detail, it would only send short summaries after the fact, and those still wouldn't show the actual conversation. Video, on the other hand, does. A video allows residents to see the full dialogue, the questions asked, the tone, the reasoning, and how decisions were made. It also allows anyone to stay informed in their own schedule without needing to sign up for anything or hope that an alert makes it through. When you compare the two, the difference is clear. TextMyGov provides quick alerts when it works. Video recordings provide true transparency and understanding. And I want to emphasize one more important point. TextMyGov was implemented without residents asking for it, but video recordings, this is something we are directly requesting as taxpayers, residents, and members of this community. So if the community is asking for this, and if it improves transparency for everyone, why can't that request be honored? Thank you.
I've got a list of things, so bear with me. To take off of Michelle, recording of board meetings. At a prior meeting, Pat, Dawn, and Bob supported recording the meetings. Mr. Reno and Mr. Dudas expressed concerns regarding the financial aspect as being the only reason for their vote against it. Benita was on vacation. Given that we already have security cameras and existing infrastructure in the place, obtaining multiple bids with vendors aware of the current equipment may result in a more cost-effective option. Recording meetings would greatly benefit residents who are unable to come for various reasons. It also could allow us to record special events such as the Veterans Coffee, could live stream that for people who couldn't make it in. And with our 200th anniversary coming up, or birthday coming up, that would be another great reason to take and get it so we could record stuff. The sheriff's recording, Benita, thank you so much for putting that out there. That was really nice. If it's not possible to post the full report each month, could monthly activity numbers be put in the meeting minutes so people can know what's on the rise and what's getting better, so we can kind of collaborate with the sheriff department. Posting an explanation of township financials. Every time I go out into the community, residents come up to me and ask me why township financials are not posted or explained during meetings, and I don't really have an answer to give them. So could we possibly get regular summarizing financial reports at the board meeting so people know what the money is being spent on? The water meter app was another thing that came up on the hub. A lot of people were asking. There was one lady, I don't know if she came forward, her bill was over $10,000. I don't know if it was a typo or what, but they mentioned about the water meter app. Is there a way we could get that posted on the township page where the app is and then how to use it so people know? Because I don't even have it on my phone, so I couldn't tell them. I'd like to thank Ed Brennan as well. He independently typed up the recycling and the trash schedule for the various parts of the township. Waste management didn't do that this year, so thank you to Ed for stepping up to assist the township. Spring cleanup day, I didn't know if you guys were having one again this year. There was a lot of issues with clarity last year and what can be brought, what can't be brought, sizes and stuff like that. If we could get clarity for that, if we're going to have one, and also if they're going to have one for fall, could we get a date set for that so people during the summer can start setting stuff aside that they need to get rid of? Summer hours at the township hall. Is it possible, instead of just having the township hall closed on Fridays, to take and scatter or rotate through the people, or is that a union thing? I don't know.
No, if you rotate through the people, then you got different departments that are here and some that aren't. And it's not like we have a vast employee base to cover for each other if someone comes in with this. It's best to have everybody here.
Okay, because I know there's still, like, some of you guys are still here, but still, if we need to come in and pay something, I know there's a Dropbox in it, but some people don't like to put their stuff in the Dropbox. I know the EDA membership is coming due, so before the board votes, do you have Dan Casey coming in at all to take and discuss what he's done for
Yeah,
stuff, you know?
Working with me on something right now.
Okay,
And he will probably be at the next meeting if he's available to go over it.
okay. Because I know, kudos to Randy Fernandez, he's demonstrated strong leadership in the DDA stuff so far, so I'm kind of looking at, do we still need the EDA with Randy, and do we take that money and put it towards Randy and other things, or what do we do? So I'd like to hear what Dan's got to say on that. With the DDA, blight enforcement, the township, we still hear complaints all the time about things. I know the house that you stopped at with the blight enforcer, right as you come off of Michigan into our subdivision, the house, literally, the eave trough is falling down. A branch fell on top of the entrance, and one person's been there the whole winter, and it is deplorable. Kids won't even stand at the bus stop anymore because it's so bad. And it's bad. You go around the township, and the code enforcement person's not doing their job, so. I know Captain Persick talked at the last meeting I was at about joining a fire and code enforcer along with doing the blight. I think that's an awesome idea. You would kill two birds with one stone. You'd have somebody who actually communicates instead of just writing a ticket or a warning and not speaking to people. Plus, they know what they're doing. To take and combine that position into someone at the fire department, that would also give them another vehicle in their fleet to take and go out and do this. So I don't know if you as a board want to take and look at that, but I think that would be an excellent idea to help get this place cleaned up for our 200th birthday. And maybe Pete can answer this. I went to the parks meeting and they had on there that the egg hunt is not going to be an egg hunt this year. They're going to be handing out eggs to kids. Because that, I think, is going to deter people from next year when we do have our birthday to getting more and more people to come to that. So I don't know what the reason was behind that, but I was kind of shocked. So I don't know if there was a reason
We've
for
probably
it.
been doing that about 10 years.
Where you hand out the eggs?
Mhm.
Okay. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's okay.
Well, we had a lot of kids that were
Overzealous?
zealous, you should say.
Okay,
And yeah, there was a lot of unhappy kids.
Okay. all right.
How are you doing that?
And Bob, this one's for you. 200th anniversary planning committee. Has one been looked at yet? Because we're getting to the point where we need to start doing stuff.
I think that the rec can look at doing things, the museum can do things, and then maybe get together. I don't, for a separate committee, we can just meet as groups from the different boards.
Right, and I have a suggestion for the newsletter. This is my final thing. And Benita, you don't have to write this all down. I'll send it all to you so you have it. The newsletter, could we possibly get a page that's just an events page with all the stuff that we're gonna be doing so people can literally tear it out or pull it out, stick it up so they know when meetings are at, they know when we're gonna have an open house, we know when the fire department's gonna have their trucks out, we know when the fishing clinic, just have one page with all the stuff for the year and just at least give them an idea. That way they can plan ahead for stuff. I don't know if that's a possibility. Trying to engage more people. That's it. That's enough.
All right. Yes. See, now we'll move on to new agenda items, the attorney's report. You have his report in front of you. If you have any questions, you can ask me or get in touch with him. I called him up and told him that he didn't have to come tonight. It was going to be a very short meeting. Engineers report, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We'll start with agenda item B, number 1, with the pay application for the Howard Street, 24th Street sidewalks. This is just a contractor claiming some work that was completed under the season. So we're catching up to what's in place. We've reviewed the pay application for those items. Will still have to come out in the spring like we talked about, redo the restoration, clean that up before we pay out those items. Those are not claimed on this pay application. I'd be in support of approval of pay application number 2 for Stafford Landscaping in the amount of $14,005.59. I'd be looking for a motion, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
We want to make a motion to approve the pay application number 2 in the amount of $14,005.59.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Reno, support by Dudash. Is there any discussion?
Is that the 30,000 that's left, is that sufficient to?
So 30,000, that's what's left on the original contract. All of that won't necessarily get paid out because they didn't do all of those work items. We'll track that, but some of that includes like silt fence that wasn't installed. So we're not gonna pay them on items that were not completed. But what we do have to do in the spring when they come through and do the restoration is do what's called a compensating change order, just to make sure all the quantities that they installed versus what was on the plans originally. So we'll have a compensating change order. But yes, the work that's remaining, we did not pay them. That 30,000 does include all the restoration, and we're comfortable with that
You're comfortable
value
with that?
covering the remainder of work, yeah.
That was my question.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call by clerk, please.
Reno,
Yes.
Dukenyak,
Yes.
Ringo,
Yes.
Bob. Yes. Shonka,
Yes.
Davis, yes, and Becky.
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'll give just a brief update on some of the other ongoing projects. We talked about Howard Street. The Griswold Force Main project, we're actually out today trying to work on that survey. The winter's been brutal for that, but we're getting a little bit of a melt, so we're moving forward with the survey for that. I did actually get the geotech report earlier today on that project, so that's helpful. We talked about getting a corrosivity testing in the soil samples just to see what that looked like. It did come back fairly corrosive, so I can get you some more information on that as we move forward, but just interesting findings, kind of supporting some of what we're seeing around the township with failing iron and steel pipe in the ground. It seems like there might be an issue that we'll be mindful of moving forward on projects and look for ways to avoid that impact moving forward, so. Maywood Pump Station that is coming along on two fronts. Our plans are in a QA/QC quality review internally, and then we've also got access now, Bonita, to the grants.gov, so all of that is cleared. So we're going to submit plans to the EPA and make sure they're good with us spitting this out in the next little bit. So getting close on that one, and then. Just been working with the supervisor and the in-house electeds recently on a new grant application targeting some water main projects on the south end of the township. We applied for this funding in the past, haven't got it, but the due date's coming up about a month from now. I'm tracking it, I just don't have that date on the top of my head. About a month from now, we'll make sure it gets in ahead of time, but I know the supervisor has reached out for some letters of support from some of your neighboring communities and some influential electeds in the area, so that's through the, like I said, Lisa McLean's office, which is congressionally directed spending, but it gets funneled through what's called the CFP grant program, which is a community funded projects program. So anytime we can get help you guys get money, it's just win-win, right? So hopefully that'll be successful. I think that's all I've got going. I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
On this corrosive.
Yeah.
Is that salt leaching up, coming up, or is that?
We tested a few different things. One of the things that was standing out, I only took 15 minutes before I left for the meeting looking at it, but it seemed like they were targeting the electrical conductivity of the soil as one of the primary things because that supports corrosion activities. That's my research I was doing. And it was it was considered highly corrosive based on the conductivity of the soil. That was one of them. There was a few other things that they tested. But it was just a good data point to get. It wasn't consistent through the whole run of that force main that we'll be putting in. But I think certainly if we're going to do something in one area, we would continue that treatment for the whole project area. It's only 2,500 feet roughly for that force main. But it's good info to have because you've got some other areas that you've got some frequent water main breaks. So you might have a similar situation there, and then we can just kind of be mindful of that moving forward and steer towards materials that are less impacted by that type of soil. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Item C, the sheriff's report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Starting this week at our office, we're beginning our yearly in-service training. We do this for every member of the agency. Some of the highlights that we'll cover will be defensive tactics, firearms, pursuit driving, legal update, CPR and first aid. And then this year, we were the first agency in the state of Michigan to purchase this specific virtual reality training program. So essentially, we can map out any room, almost any scenario, and we can plug those parameters in. We can add, again, all virtual actors, if you will, or furniture. And so we'll be using that this year with, with weapon systems that are pretty much, like they feel lifelike. And then there's also voice activated training where you can have these actors do certain things as the police officers progress through the scenario. So kind of a cool thing. We're excited to roll that out and see how that helps. Like I said, we can go back and look at any call that we've been on that we did really good on or really bad on or we could improve on, or anything nationally that's kind of a big thing that we could plug everybody into that same exact scenario and see how they would react to it. So it's come a long way from some of the older antiquated systems that we used on these big, large screens that were like VHS tape scenarios that people would work through. So that starts this week. And then, of course, you have report for the month of January. You have to answer any questions on either of those things.
Any questions for Captain Cole? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Fire chief's report.
Good evening. You have my report in front of you. No real notable activity for last month. So it's a pretty quick report. I don't have any more activity. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions for Randy?
Thank you. I told you it was a quick one.
Approval of bills.
We approved the prepaid bills amount of $10,500.
Motion by Shonka, is there support?
I'll support that.
Support by Kringle. Is there any discussion regarding the prepaid? Seeing none, roll call by the clerk.
Shonka?
Yes.
Kringle?
Yes.
Dudash?
Yes.
Bob? Yes. Reno?
Yes.
Davis? Yes. Lewis?
Yes.
Motion, we approve the current bills amount of $1,339,609.87.
Motion by Shonka, is there support? Support by Reno. Is there any discussion regarding the current bills? Seeing none, roll call by the clerk.
Shonka?
Yes.
Reno?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Kringle?
Yes.
Dudash?
Yes.
Davis? Yes. Lewis?
Yes. Board correspondence, anybody?
I got some SimCog updates. The 100-year reign worries is now down to 18 months. Somewhere in Michigan, they hit the 100-year rain level at least once every 18 months. Rain has become a very bad problem. We just recently did a EM, emergency management, work class on that. Biggest takeaway there is to make sure and again, we're not big enough to have our own emergency management that we worry on the county, am I correct?
Correct.
But we do worry about, even if though we're a township, so the county knows that we're aware. And who is there, would it be you, Bob? Or you? If you're, let's say you're on vacation in Texas, who takes your place? That's the kind of worries they had. Who's stepping in for the next person down? Because a lot of times the communities are failing in that first 24, 48 hours to notify proper people that they've been warned upcoming storms and that sort of thing.
To make any emergency management decision would be a collaboration between Andy and myself.
Okay. So if you're not here, Andy's here. If you're out of state, whatever.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing, and they just want to make sure that the collector catch the phone numbers people to notify, because it seemed to be falling apart. Making sure you take updated pictures before the storm hits, so when FEMA wants them after, because a lot of communities were failing on understanding that FEMA wants to know what was there before and then after, so they can issue those checks as fast as possible, state and FEMA. And then, tree ordinances. Down in Detroit, there passed ordinances right and left on cutting down trees. Couple communities say you're gonna cut 4 trees in a year, and we wanna know the trees, because we don't wanna cut down walnuts and nut trees and other kind of trees and where they're at. And they wanna put an ordinance in and then a permit to cut the tree down. We talked about that. We don't have, we just go ahead, call up Houston, get it cut.
We don't cut any trees unless they're rotted or
Well, this is
on our property for, I know you're talking about residents too.
residential property. And then, we talked about, and Ms. Brown brought up text my gov. That's really for us to put on like water breaks and that sort of thing. Stop for doing what they're looking for. And we talked about that, because there's 4 or 5 different companies that do that. Text my gov is one of the top ones for doing that. But they don't warn the whole township or the whole city, the whole county. It's just in the area where that water break, where those power lines are down. There's no sense telling people down Strawberry Lane that there's a water break out in Charmwood, because it doesn't affect them.
Right, in the last water main break they had out in Charmwood, when they notified the people that they thought they were gonna be affected, it became at a last minute thing where they had to shut off another valve. So they kind of expanded that, and I've instructed them to just call a bigger area. You may be affected by a water shut off. Don't try to keep it so tight, you can move it out.
Yeah,
A little bit.
move it on. But there's some cities that would blanket the whole city, the next
No,
thing
there's
you know,
no
they got,
sense in that.
they're getting inundated with phone calls. Well, one's water, what do I have to do? And people have to say, that's not your area, it was over here, in these blocks here, so. Try to keep it.
Last Tuesday, we were inundated with calls because Kimball had a repair out there.
Yep.
They said the water in Kimball, Clyde, and Port Huron Township could be affected. That message went out to everybody, and everybody's calling in wondering about what's going on with their water. 99.5% of them didn't affect, it was only affecting Griswold Road and range south of Griswold.
And going back to emergency management, when we put out bulletins, it seems like everybody's on the phone, any phone number to the government, they call and say, what's happening? You know, you can't do weather alerts on them, but you can say there's a flood and that. And storm sewers, they're wondering how they're gonna try to keep the water clean going to the rivers. They separated them, how they want
I said that back when the city was separating them, why didn't they just put in detention tanks of some sort and then,
that's what,
I could see it coming.
yeah, the 75 down there, 75 and 696. They were pumping water out of one tank and it was going to a reservoir, which was flooding over, going back on to 75, coming down to the pump and going back around, going over, come back around. So anyhow, that's it right now.
Anyone else?
Report has Easter extravaganza, 28th of March. from 11 to 2. Inflatables, magician. Popcorn, juices. The Easter Bunny's gonna be there, so you can take pictures. Exotic pets, exotic animals show too. One of the inflatables. As always.
We'll take the clear.
Oh, snake.
Play with the exotic animals in the inflatable?
That's nice.
I think if that happens, we might play.
I was reading an article a couple weeks ago on Google. That's where I just usually scroll through Google articles. And the Port Huron Township area, I would say, which also includes probably the city of Port Huron, whatnot, was in the top 25 of areas of the state that people look to buy homes in. So I thought that was good news out of all the communities out there. Pat, you want to discuss maybe your visitor you had?
We had Mike Cox came into BioPro here last week, and we've opened it up for the other candidates as well. He's been the first one to actually accept the visit, and I thought it went very nice. So.
All right. The assessor position, we are on Wednesday, have got someone coming in for the second time that I believe we get a good fit. We're gonna sit down and talk terms and see if we can come up with something. If we do, then maybe by the next meeting, we'll have something for you there. They're still they're looking to build a spec building down on Petite 32nd. They're gonna be looking for their tax abatement credit. And we need a resolution for that, and Dan Casey's gonna work with us to get that taken care of. That's all I got for now.
And speaking of that, building, they've already went through and had the site plans all done, they got some ZBA or some zoning. But one that changed, that one, that's all approved.
Okay. So, yeah, right now, they just want to build a spec building, a shell, no floor, board yet, just with the walls and the roof. That way, when they get a customer for it, they can build it to fit their needs. Depending on what they do in it, depends on how thick the concrete floors have to be and how the electrical and everything else. All right. Anyone else? A motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Pringle, support by Shanka. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
What's that?